Welcome, curious minds, to an exciting journey into the microscopic world of plants. Today, we are exploring a fascinating topic: cork, those dead, waterproof cells produced by the cork cambium, fortified by suberin. Have you ever wondered what makes a tree's bark so tough? Or why a wine bottle stopper works so well? We'll uncover these secrets. We'll start with the basics, then dive deeper into its structure and function, explore its intricate adaptations, and finally, look at its profound ecological significance and even its engineering inspirations. Let's begin our adventure. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is cork, and what makes it so important for plants? Cork is essentially the tough, outermost protective layer you see on the stems and roots of older plants, especially trees. Think of it as the plant's natural armor, its skin, but much more resilient. It's unique because it's primarily made up of dead cells, which are packed together very tightly, forming a dense barrier. This structure is key to its protective capabilities. It's not just a passive layer, it's actively formed by the plant to shield its vital internal tissues from the harsh external environment. So, when you touch a tree's bark, you're feeling this incredible protective cork layer. So, how does this amazing cork layer come into being? In younger plants, the outermost layer is the epidermis. But as a plant grows older and its stem or root expands, the epidermis can't keep up and eventually ruptures. To replace this, a special meristematic tissue, meaning a tissue with actively dividing cells, develops. This tissue is called the cork cambium star. The cork cambium starts producing new cells, primarily outwards. These new cells then mature and become what we know as cork. What makes these cork cells truly special is a waxy substance called suberin that gets deposited in their cell walls. This suberin is the secret ingredient that makes cork cells highly waterproof and gasproof, offering unparalleled protection to the plant. Now, let's test your understanding with a few quick questions. First, what are cork cells primarily made of? Second, can you name the waxy substance that gives cork its waterproof properties? And third, which specialized plant tissue is responsible for producing cork? Take a moment to think about these answers. Ready to dive a bit deeper? Let's explore the formation of cork in more detail and understand its crucial functions. As plants age, particularly in woody species, the primary protective tissue, the epidermis, can no longer accommodate the increasing girth and often ruptures. To ensure continuous protection, a remarkable adaptation occurs: a new secondary meristematic tissue emerges. This is the cork cambium also known as the phellogen. It typically arises from the living cells of the cortex, just beneath the epidermis, forming a continuous layer. This phellogen is a lateral meristem, meaning it contributes to the plant's width, and its development is a critical step in the plant's transition from primary to secondary growth, ensuring robust and long-term protection. The cork cambium is a powerhouse of cell division. It actively produces new cells, primarily towards the outside of the plant. These outward produced cells differentiate and mature into the cork or phellem. The key characteristic of these cork cells is that they are dead at maturity. They lose their protoplasm, becoming empty and rigid. They are also packed extremely tightly, with virtually no intercellular spaces, forming a dense, impenetrable barrier. This compact, multi-layered structure of dead cells is what gives cork its incredible toughness and protective qualities, forming the outer bark. The secret to cork's amazing properties lies in a special substance called suberin star. As cork cells mature, their cell walls become impregnated with this waxy, fatty biopolymer. Suberin is highly impermeable to both water and gases. This impermeability is absolutely vital for the plant. It dramatically reduces water loss from the stem, especially crucial in dry environments, and acts as a formidable barrier against the entry of pathogens like bacteria and fungi, as well as insects. Beyond protection, the dead, air-filled nature of cork cells also provides excellent insulation, shielding the living tissues from extreme temperatures, making cork a multifunctional protective marvel. Time for some medium-level questions. First, explain why it's advantageous for cork cells to be dead. Second, what is the primary role of Subrin in cork cells? Third, from which tissue does the cork cambium typically originate? Fourth, describe how cork effectively prevents water loss from the plant. And finally, list 2 important functions of cork other than preventing water loss. Take your time to formulate comprehensive answers. Let's elevate our understanding. We'll now analyze cork's role in secondary growth and its detailed adaptations for survival. As woody plants undergo secondary growth, their stems and roots increase significantly in girth. The primary epidermis, being a single layer, cannot stretch indefinitely and eventually ruptures. To maintain protection, the plant forms a new, complex protective tissue system called the ****pariderm** ****. This pariderm is a tripartite structure consisting of the *****phelogen ****, which is the cork cambium itself, the *****phellem***, which is the cork produced outwards by the phelogen, and the *****pheloderm***, which are living parenchymatous cells produced inwards by the phelogen. Cork, therefore, is the vital outermost component of this pariderm, forming a robust, multi-layered barrier that replaces the epidermis and ensures the plant's continued protection as it ages and expands. Cork cells exhibit remarkable structural and chemical adaptations. They are unique because they are *** dead at maturity ***, having lost their protoplast. This allows them to be densely packed without metabolic demands, forming a rigid, unyielding barrier. The most critical chemical adaptation is the extensive *** Subrin deposition *** in their secondary cell walls. Subrin is a complex waxy polymer, making the cell walls highly impermeable to water and gases. Often, cork cells also undergo *** lignification ***, a process where lignin is deposited, further increasing their hardness and mechanical strength. Additionally, the empty lumens of these dead cells are frequently *** air-filled ***, which significantly contributes to cork's excellent insulating properties and its characteristic buoyancy. The formation of cork and the pariderm is profoundly significant for a plant's survival, especially in challenging environments. The subized cork layer drastically reduces transpiration from the stem surface, conserving precious water in arid or dry conditions, a key aspect of drought resistance. Its insulating properties protect the delicate living tissues, such as the vascular cambium and phloem, from extreme temperatures preventing damage from freezing cold or scorching heat. The tough, impermeable barrier of cork acts as a primary defense against the entry of pathogens like fungi and bacteria, as well as insect pests Furthermore, it provides essential mechanical support shielding older, larger stems from physical damage, abrasions, and herbivory, contributing to the plant's longevity and structural integrity. Let's tackle some harder questions now. First, define the pariderm and list its 3 main components. Second, describe the chemical composition of Subrin and explain its role in cork cells. Third, how does cork formation specifically relate to secondary growth in plants? Fourth, elaborate on why the dead nature of cork cells is actually an advantage for the plant. Fifth, compare and contrast the protective functions of the epidermis and cork. Sixth, besides protection, what other significant roles does cork play in ensuring a plant's survival? And seventh, what are lenticels, and why are they indispensable in subized bark? Think critically about these points. Prepare to delve into the deepest layers of understanding. We are now going to explore cork at a competitive level, from its intricate biochemistry to its profound impact and engineering inspiration. To truly appreciate cork, we must first understand the detailed anatomy of the pariderm and its relationship to bark. Botanically, bark is a broad term for all tissues external to the vascular cambium, encompassing the secondary phloem and the pariderm itself. The pariderm is the actual secondary protective tissue. The phelogen or cork cambium is a lateral meristem with a variable origin, often from cortical cells. It's a dynamic layer, producing phloem or cork outwards and pheloderm inwards. Phloem cells are radially flattened, polyhedral, and dead at maturity, characterized by their heavy suberization and air-filled lumens, forming a highly efficient barrier. Pheloderm, conversely, consists of living parenchymatous cells, similar to the cortex, offering some storage and metabolic support. The remarkable properties of cork stem from the intricate biochemistry of subrin star. Subrin is a complex biopolymer with two main domains, A poly, aliphatic, domain and A poly, phenolic, domain star. The aliphatic domain comprises long-chain fatty acids, fatty alcohols, and dicarboxylic acids, esterified with glycerol, creating a highly hydrophobic polyester network responsible for its impermeability. The phenolic domain consists of phenylpropanoids, like ferulic acid, interlinked with glycerol, providing structural rigidity and antioxidant properties. The synthesis of these monomers occurs in the endoplasmic reticulum, followed by their transport and enzymatic polymerization into the secondary cell walls, forming a continuous, lamellar barrier that is crucial for the cell's unique protective function. The structure of cork varies significantly across plant species, influencing its ecological role and commercial value. Quercus suba the cork oak, is preeminent for its exceptionally active phelogen, which produces a thick, resilient, and commercially harvestable cork layer. This natural cork boasts a unique combination of properties: low density due to air-filled cells, high elasticity, superior thermal and acoustic insulation, chemical inertness, and impermeability. These characteristics have led to diverse applications, from traditional bottle stoppers to modern flooring, insulation boards, gaskets, and even fashion. Understanding these variations highlights how specific plant adaptations can translate into significant economic and industrial benefits, leveraging nature's engineering for human use. Despite its impermeability, plants must still facilitate gas exchange. This is achieved through lenticels specialized, often lens-shaped pores on the bark. Instead of compact cork cells, the phelogen in these regions produces loosely arranged, unsuberized complementary cells with abundant intercellular spaces, allowing gases to diffuse between the atmosphere and the internal living tissues. This highlights a crucial evolutionary adaptation. Cork provides robust protection, while lenticels offer a necessary compromise for respiration. Ecologically, cork's development was vital for terrestrial plant colonization, protecting against desiccation, pathogens, and physical damage, thereby enabling increased plant size and longevity. Its lightweight, strong, and insulating nature has also inspired biomimicry guiding material scientists in developing synthetic foams and protective coatings, demonstrating nature's enduring influence on engineering innovation. Let's tackle the first 5 hardest questions. First, differentiate between the botanical terms bark and pariderm. Second, describe the specific roles of phelogen and pheloderm in the formation of the pariderm. Third, explain the two main biochemical domains of subrin and how each contributes to its unique properties. Fourth, How does the commercial cork industry specifically leverage the anatomical and physiological features of Quercus suba asterisk? And fifth, detail the structure and function of lenticels, explaining their necessity given the overall impermeability of cork. Pause and consider these complex details. Now, for the final 5 challenging questions. Sixth, discuss the significant evolutionary advantages conferred by the development of cork in terrestrial plants. Seventh, explain how the suberin deposition process exemplifies a complex biochemical pathway within plant cells. Eighth, provide specific examples of how cork's natural properties, such as insulation, buoyancy, and impermeability, are utilized in both engineering and everyday applications. Ninth, investigate how varying environmental conditions might influence the thickness and biochemical composition of cork in different plant species. And 10th, if a plant's cork cambium was severely damaged, what immediate and long-term consequences would the plant face? These questions require deep analytical thought. And that brings us to the end of our in-depth exploration of cork. We've journeyed from its basic structure to its complex biochemistry, ecological significance, and even its inspiration for engineering. We hope you've gained a profound appreciation for this unsung hero of the plant world. For more such engaging and comprehensive educational content, make sure to visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for continuous learning. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep growing your knowledge. See you next time.